Are you looking to publish a book this year and have no idea where to start? Or perhaps you've already published a book, but you want the inside scoop to know all of your options when it comes to publishing? Then be sure to stay tuned for this video as well as an entire video series because I am doing a deep dive into everything. I want to introduce you guys to a new series I'm starting here on my YouTube channel, A Beginner's Guide to Self-Publishing a Book. In this series, we're reviewing everything when it comes to self-publishing a book. I am going to be talking about the most popular print-on-demand self-publishing platforms and giving you guys a review of the quality of the books they produce, as well as tutorials on how to publish through their platform. The video you're watching today is the first in the series, and that is bringing your idea of a book from concept to a reality. We're going over the basics on how to bring your idea to paper and publishing it and marketing it on all those basics. But be sure to stay tuned for the entire series because, like I said, I'm reviewing every single popular print-on-demand publishing company out there. I'm going to be talking about publishing with KDP, also known as Kindle Direct Publishing. I'll be talking about Barnes & Noble Press, Draft to Digital, including their print edition of their books. I'll also be talking about printing with Ingram Spark. And lastly, I'll be talking about Kindle Unlimited versus wide distribution for your ebooks. So there's a ton to talk about, which is why I'm breaking it up into different videos. If there's other topics you want me to talk about here on this YouTube channel and add it to the series, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, you can look forward to those videos in the upcoming months, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Now, let's jump into today's video and talk about the basics where we bring your idea of a book from just a concept that seems a little vague to an actually published physical book. Hello everyone, my name is Mandi Lynn. I'm an author, book cover designer, and the creator of the Book Launch Planner. And today, let's talk about the basics of getting your book published. So there is 9 basic steps when it comes to publishing your book, and we're going to be talking about them all today. So step 1, know your market. Step 2, outline your book. Step 3, write the book. Step 4, build a marketing plan. Step 5, edit the book. Step 6, cover design and formatting. Step 7, pre-publishing marketing. Step 8, publish. And step 9, market. Step number 1 is to know your market. Now, a lot of people think that step 1 would be to outline the book or start writing the book or maybe do some brainstorming for the book, but I think it's very important to know what your market is. And I say this having skipped this step for previous books that I've written. And when I say know your market, I'm basically saying a little bit write to market, but not necessarily like you don't have to write your book to market in order to make money as an author, but it's very important to know where your book fits inside the market. So for example, a lot of people will talk about their book. They can go on and on about it, telling me all the different plot points, but when I say what genre, someone may respond with like, oh, it's romance meets sci-fi meets dystopian, and really you just want to make sure your book fits into a particular genre. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, my book fits into a whole bunch of different genres. That's great, but that doesn't really work when you're trying to market the book later on. So if you keep this in mind before you start writing the book, it'll make your life a lot easier. Now, knowing where your book fits in the market, I highly recommend checking out How Your Book Sells Itself by myself and Bethany Atazan. This is book 1 in the Marketing for Authors series, so I'll be talking about a lot of the other books in this video as well. But basically, I just want you to be mindful of how you're going to market the book. Like, does it have a niche that it fits into in terms of the book genre world? And another way you can figure out your book's market is you can check out a copy of the Book Launch Planner. All the first couple of pages are about identifying your book's market. So we have Know Your Market, where you identify the genre, the subgenre, and the keywords. We have your ideal reader profile, which is like the ideal person who would buy your book and give that book a 5-star review on Amazon. And then we also have comparative titles, so books that are similar to yours that would kind of be marketed the same way as yours. All this is important to know ahead of time because it'll make your life a lot easier down the line when you start marketing, which is why I say it's step 1. Step 2, outline the book. Outlining to me is a very finicky thing. I feel like I outline differently for every book I write. And in fact, the first couple of books I wrote, I didn't outline at all. So it's really up to you, but I highly suggest outlining a book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. If you are writing fiction, I highly suggest checking out this book, which is Save the Cat Writes Novel. This is a book that will just kind of walk you through the outlining process. It'll let you know what makes a story work, so you can use these different plot points to outline your novel and make a very engaging story. Now, all the books and resources that I mentioned today will be linked in the description of this video, so you can check it all out down there. Step 3, write the book. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can write a book. You don't even have to write it in order. You could start with chapter 10 and then work backwards if you so please. That probably won't be the easiest way to write a book, but you can write a book that way. The important part is that you get that first draft done. Now, I think there's nothing fancy to writing your first draft. I just sit down and I write my first draft in Microsoft Word. I start typing and I follow my outline to the best of my ability. I write that first draft trying to just get the bare bones of the story written. Sometimes I have entire chapters that are just dialogue, and sometimes I have chapters where I write a note to myself to write this scene later. Either way, as long as you finish the first draft, that's important. It can all be fixed later on in editing. Step 4, build your marketing plan. Now, I do like to have my marketing plan step in between the writing process and the editing process, just because I think it's very healthy for a writer to have that step away from their work for a little bit. So after you finish the first draft of your book, you can take a break for a little bit and maybe brainstorm some different marketing techniques, and that's where this step comes into hand. Since we already talked about what genre your book is and where it fits in the market, I now want to talk about how specific marketing works for your genre. So for example, different genres get marketed differently. Romance does extremely well on TikTok right now. So if you're someone who writes young adult or young adult romance, you may notice that there's a whole community on TikTok where you can just market the heck out of your romance novel or your young adult novel. Now, with that said, even if romance does really well on TikTok, it's not as simple as just going on TikTok and doing whatever you want to advertise there. You do want to be mindful of the different trends that are going on and follow those trends when you're doing your marketing. So this is just a time to brainstorm, to do research on other books that are in your genre and in your market and see how people are advertising them and what works best, so you can write that down for yourself and do it later when it comes to the true marketing part, because right now we're still in the creation side, but it's always good to do this research as soon as possible. But not only is it a good time to do research, it's also a good time to start building your author platform. And that is where these two books come in hand. So we have Grow Your Author Platform and then Secrets to Selling Books on Social Media. So Grow Your Author Platform is all about your website, your email list, and things like YouTube and blogging if you want to try that out. Then Secrets to Selling Books on Social Media is just the social media side of things. That is things like Instagram and Facebook and how to grow those platforms and engage with an audience so you can have followers before the book comes out. That way, when the book does come out, you have readers who are eager to buy the book. So you want to start your marketing as soon as possible. Do not wait to do these steps until after the book is published. Start doing this today. The sooner you start marketing and building yourself an author platform, the better and the easier time you'll have when it comes to doing the marketing after the book is published. Step number 5, edit the book. Now, this is the step that probably takes the most time, at least it should take the most time, I'd like to think. We're talking about the editing. So there's about a million different types of editing, but more or less this is the order that it starts in. So first you do self-edits, where you kind of just go through your manuscript again and make sure it's readable. Then you work with beta readers or critique partners. So these are the first eyes that are going to look at your book and give feedback. With these types of edits, you want to make the book as clean as possible. That way, if you choose to move on to professional editing, you can get a lot more out of those editing services, because then all the basic editing has been done and all that's left is the really hard nitty-gritty editing. Now, there again is a lot of different types of professional editors that you can hire. So there's developmental editors. They help you develop your story and edit the big picture stuff like plot points and characters and things like that. Then we have a copy and line editor. That's more nitty-gritty down to the word choice and sentence structure. And then finally we have a proofreader, and that's purely just grammar. We're looking for typos, punctuation, all of that sort of stuff. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can find editors. I personally have had the best luck working with people I know personally and trust with my book, or I've hired people through a website called Upwork, and Upwork is just a website you can use to find freelancers. So I hired one off of Upwork once, and she helped me proofread one of my books, and it was a really great experience, so highly recommend. Step number 6, cover design and formatting. So this is the step that people like to kind of pinch corners on the most, because it can be an expensive step if you hire someone professionally. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I can design the cover myself, I can format the cover myself. And yes, you can. You absolutely can. It just might not be the most professional result. For cover design especially, we know people judge a book by its cover. You can say you don't judge a book by its cover, but we all know we've made some impulse buys just because a book had a pretty book cover. That's why I think it's best that you hire a professional. Now, like I said, you can hire a professional off of a website like Upwork. You can hire me. I'm a professional cover designer. Or you can find a whole bunch of other different websites where you can hire freelancers. Either way, it is your best bet to work with a professional unless you have experience in graphic design yourself. Now, book formatting is a little bit different. I do firmly believe that authors can format their books themselves if you have a lot of patience. I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel on how to format a book for KDP in Microsoft Word. Now, it is absolutely possible to format a book in Microsoft Word. Will it be a pleasant experience? Probably not, but it will get the job done. Now, it will still look professional if you take your time and do it correctly, but it's just a pain in the butt to do. Microsoft Word is not designed to format books. It's just not built for that. So in order to do it, you gotta really figure it out. The tutorial is linked in the description down below, but like I said, you can also hire someone to format your book for you. I personally format my books in Adobe InDesign, which is a professional software. So I use that to format my books for print as well as for ebook, because formatting for ebook is actually even harder than formatting for print. It's just way more finicky. But I also have a tutorial on how to format a book for ebook. Again, it'll be linked down below. So as you can see, you do have a whole bunch of options if you want to do it yourself, or you can hire someone like me to do the formatting for you. Let's move on to step number 7, which is pre-publishing and marketing. So this is the step where the creation of your book is more or less done. Maybe you're still editing in the background and you're working on the cover design and the formatting in the background. But either way, this is when you're starting to think like, oh my God, the book is coming out. Maybe you have a release date, you know when it's coming out, and you just got to do a bunch of stuff ahead of time to get it ready. That is where this book comes in handy. Plan a profitable book launch. This is the book where we sit down and plan all the marketing leading up to release. So this is stuff like your cover reveal, a pre-order campaign if you choose to do a pre-order campaign. Maybe you want to to do an Instagram tour or have a street team, there's about 1,000 different ways to market your book leading up to release. And we cover some of the most popular techniques in this book here, so it is a great resource if you want to check it out. So this is all about learning about your different options, learning how to carry out those different options. And then I also want to suggest the book launch planner. This is not a how-to book. This is literally a planner. So this is to help you write down everything. It helps you brainstorm. There's a ton of pages and checklists and templates. This is just to purely keep yourself organized, whereas this book is more of a how-to book. So they kind of work together during this step in the process. Then we have step number 8, which is publishing. So obviously to publish a book, you need to know which company you're going to work with in order to publish your book. And newsflash, you can also work with multiple companies, but I will talk about all of that in the future upcoming videos, because you could work with Kindle Direct Publishing, you could work with Ingram Spark, you could work with Draft to Digital, Barnes & Noble Press. All of these are options for self-publishing your book, and they handle all the printing for you. So what happens is someone orders the book online, and the company is notified, they print up the book, they ship the book, and then they give you a royalty check. And that's that. So you can essentially publish a book for free. You don't have to pay to print hundreds of copies of your book, because the companies that I'll be talking about in future videos, they only print a copy of a book when someone orders it. So there's no investing for you, except for the investing that you may do to hire freelancers like editors, cover designer, and interior formatter. So when it comes to publishing, basically all you have to do is get all your files ready. So your cover file, your interior files, and you go to their website, you follow their specific steps, you upload the book, and then you hit publish, and it's really as simple as that. And now, of course, in the videos later on in the series, I'll be going through the specific steps for each one, but I promise you it is a relatively simple process. Which brings us to our last step, step number 9, market. So once the book is published, you can start really marketing the book. But of course, this isn't the first time we're sitting down to market the book. We've been marketing the book maybe since you started writing the book months ago. But once the book is physically published and you're physically selling it, or maybe digitally selling it, it's time to really kick the marketing into gear, because it does not end on publication day. A lot of authors think it does, but if you want the most reward for all of the effort that you've put in, the best thing you can do is to continue marketing your book long after it releases. Because when your book releases, you'll make a lot of sales the first month, and then maybe a little bit less in the following months, and then eventually you won't be getting any sales. But that's only if you don't market the book. Now, if you do market the book, you should be able to get a pretty continual amount of sales every single month, which is money in your pocket. In order to do this, you're going to want to make sure that people review your book on Amazon, and you want to make sure you're continually reaching out to new readers so they discover their book. And overall, you just want to make sure you never stop talking about your book. But how do you do that? Well, my favorite way is to do it organically. So doing all the other methods I already talked about, which is growing your author platform and building your social media platform. But you can also venture into paid ads. And that's where this book comes in. So we have Book Sales That Multiplied. This is another book in the Marketing for Authors series. This is a little bit of more advanced than the other books in the series, but it covers things like Facebook ads, Amazon ads, doing Goodreads giveaways, doing newsletter swaps, a whole bunch of different things you can do besides organic marketing to market your book. And for those of you who aren't aware, organic marketing is marketing that just kind of happens naturally when you have a social media platform where you just talk about the book. You're not paying or investing into anything in order to market your book. Whereas paid marketing, you obviously pay to market the book, which is a scary thing for authors to do because we make such little royalties off of our books. You can expect anywhere from $1 to $3 per book sale that you make, so paying for marketing can seem scary. So I highly recommend checking out this book and just taking your time when you ease into paid marketing to see what works for you and what doesn't, because not all techniques work for everyone. And I think that's something you'll learn as you ease into the marketing world, is that there's hundreds and thousands of ways to market your book, but maybe only a small handful of them will work for you. And the only way you're going to figure out which ones do work is to try it out yourself. So that is it for this video. Be sure to check out everything I talked about linked down below in the description. And of course, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the future videos that are coming up in this series. If you want even more content, be sure to join as a YouTube member. You get access to exclusive badges and emojis, and then I also post a monthly video where I do a deep dive into my goal setting and my marketing techniques, and also my income every single month. So if you want access to that, hit that join button. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe.